The chairman just referenced in the face of continued obstruction, and I think it's quite rich that we are talking about subpoena compliance under a chairman of the full committee who was absolutely out of subpoena compliance in the last Congress. So we're going to haul witnesses in here today and claim that they did not comply with subpoenas or requests. And that request is so rich because it's coming from a chairman who himself did not comply with the January 6 committee's request. So May 31, you see a letter sent to then Representative Jordan asking that he honor his subpoena. He was asked over and over and over, you were a witness to a crime. You were a witness to the greatest crime ever committed with the most criminals ever indicted in America. Will you help your country? Will you comply with that subpoena? No compliance, crickets, absolute defiance of the subpoena. And because of that defiance, the chairman was referred, and it's still pending, to the House Ethics Committee. And why? Well, it's because he took an oath. And I want to have the congressional oath put up there, but the congressional oath mandates that members of Congress defend the Constitution without any mental reservation, or as it says on the slide, purpose of evasion. Not responding to a congressional subpoena is a direct purpose of evasion. So this is our chairman, hauling all us here, everyone here today, people at the Department of Justice, the Department of Education, who are doing important work to claim they are out of compliance when he himself is currently out of compliance. But I also want to go through what is being requested of the Department of Justice and the Department of Education, because they're actually in compliance. In fact, the first request that was sent to the Department of Justice followed, well, by the way, it didn't have a date on it as to when the compliance had to exist. Hundreds of documents were sent back. The request was so vague, it would be like typing in Google search, what is Earth? And the Department of Justice is saying, can you just be a little more specific and we will get you these documents? And they sent hundreds of documents back. And the claim here is that the Department of Justice has designated parents as domestic terrorists. You will see in the department's October 4, 2021 memo that they never used the phrase, from the Attorney General to anyone else in any of the documents produced, domestic terrorists, as a way to label parents. They are concerned, as local law enforcement is concerned, as state law enforcement is concerned, as federal law enforcement must be concerned, that threats are being carried out to local volunteers on school boards all over America. And apparently, the majority is here today to defend those who are making those threats. Taking time away from hanging out with the January 6 defendants at the DC jail, they're here today to defend threats like this. A threat that says, it is too bad that your mama is an ugly communist whore. If she doesn't quit or resign before the end of the year, we will kill her. But first, we will kill you. That was a threat sent to a child. These guys are defending that threat. They don't believe law enforcement has any business investigating that threat. I don't know what happened to the Republican Party that sided with law enforcement and law and order and public safety, but we're here today because they believe that threat is okay and no one in law enforcement should investigate it. Let's look at some of the other threats. We are coming after all of you. Traitors of America, a threat set to a school board member in Dublin, Ohio. This is why Hitler threw you C-word in a gas chamber. Anonymous threat sent to a school board member in Pennsylvania. These are the people you want to have this hearing for? You go and sympathize with the January 6 defendants. You're going to stand up for the people making these threats, and you're going to haul in people who are working hard for their country, and we're going to defend these people? Well, knock yourself out, because what you're going to find is they are doing nothing but protecting innocent volunteers across America who want to make sure our kids and the parent volunteers are safe in their school. But finally, I actually think when it comes to subpoena compliance, we should follow the Jim Jordan standard. Back in 2019, Jim Jordan and Elijah Cummings agreed A congressional subpoena is a powerful and coercive tool. It should be only used when attempts to reach an accommodation with the witness have reached an impasse, or when necessary to obtain certain sensitive information, such as financial information, or through a so-called friendly subpoena to protect a witness. This is the Jim Jordan standard, set back in 2019. Just like the subpoena he defied when the January 6th committee sent one to him, he's defying his own standard here today by not accepting what both departments are asking you to do, which is to be more specific in your requests, to meet with their staff and go through an accommodation process. So again, we can waste our time. You can stand with the January 6th terrorists. You can stand with the terrorists who made these threats. But if you're just a little more specific, I think you'll get everything you want from the witnesses we have here today. And I yield back.